meeting for intonation practice on February 19th, and we started with stay warm out there. Stay warm out there. War. So this WAR sounds like OR, war, and then the M will connect mout. Warm out there. Stay warm out there. This is a kind of a contrast. So anytime you're contrasting two things, they need to stand out. In this case, it's sales and profit. So we have to increase our sales to see an increase in profit. And I could have also emphasized this increase, but since I said it once, I'm not doing it again. We have to increase our sales to see an increase in profit. So we have to or have to. I'm keeping it to, so to increase. So it might be a little easier to increase our sales to see. I'm making this a t because the consonant here to see in. There's an invisible y here to see in. So instead of and, you're making it an I, seeing. And now this in will connect to the I. So that's where to see an increase in profit. So that's where the connections come from. We have to increase our sales to see an increase in profit. This is a good contrast between the verb with stress on the second syllable, produce, and the noun with the stress on the first syllable, produce. So when the PRO is not stressed, it changes to produce, and in this case, produces. And in this case, the pro is stressed and it sounds like O, produce. So the farm produces a lot of produce. Produces a lot of. Produces a lot of produce. And produces a lot of. Even just a lot of, I think I put it here, a lot of. A lot of, you don't have to say the v and of, and it changes to a lotta. That's a good little group to practice together. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of work to do. You won't hear the K. Work to do. I have a lot of work to do. So the farm produces a lot of produce. The farm produces a lot of produce. Or maybe that I might say the farm produces, put stress on farm, the farm produces a lot of produce, but I chose this contrast. His story will be written in history. His story sounds like story, but in the, excuse me, in the word history, it looks like the same STORY, but it doesn't sound like that. We get rid of this O and we make it two syllables, history. So his story will be written in history. And written in, this is a syllabic, excuse me, this is a syllabic written. So your tongue goes up for the T, writ, and instead of releasing the airflow writ in, hold it there, written, and make the in noise. And now nin, written in, because you're going to connect the in to the in. The letter N to the word in, and it will sound like written in. So that's kind of interesting, I think. His story will be written in history. Could you or could ya, because a D and a Y will make a ja. Could you please clarify that point? That's a yes, no question. Goes up. I didn't quite understand. Or you could say, could you please clarify that point? And I didn't quite understand. So if you keep the stress on didn't, that's typical. Usually negative words are emphasized. I didn't quite understand. But if you put it on quite, I didn't quite understand, means the emphasis is more on I understood some of it, but not everything, maybe. So there's different ways this could sound and have different meaning. I put could you? Could you please clarify that point? I should be going up. Could you please clarify that point? I didn't quite understand. Quite understand. This T changes to a D, so when it connects, it'll sound like dunderstand. Didn't quite And I put this T here with a little mark because you're going to not release the T. Quite understand. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the nearest subway station? Excuse me, could you or could ya tell me how to get to the? So I just put this part, how to get to the here. Tell me. Tell me how to get to the. Tell me how to get to the. Tell me how to get to the nearest subway station. Now, this T, you can skip it. So just instead of stopping the airflow, nearest subway, just skip it. Nearest subway. Nearest subway. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the nearest subway station? And you won't hear this T. I'm just going to put a little mark there because, well, it's kind of, you're just making one T. Get to. Get to. Okay. And we didn't do this one, but that sounds amazing. I'd love to try that sometime. All right, without talking, stay warm out there. We have to increase our sales to see an increase in profit. The farm produces a lot of produce. His story will be written in history. Could you please clarify that point? I didn't quite understand. Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to the nearest subway station? That sounds amazing. I'd love to try that sometime. All right, thank you very much. And I will see you next week, next Tuesday for pronunciation, and next Wednesday for intonation. Have a good weekend.